Let's continue Inclusive Teaching Competency Training Programs, Module 3. Inclusive Pedagogy. Let's start with the objective. As the education systems are adopting the constructivist approach, it is believed through researchers that pedagogy must be child-centric in order to promote reasoning and critical thinking in the child. In this lesson, we will discuss on these 3 topics. Instructional strategies for inclusive classroom. Co-teaching strategies. Selecting appropriate teaching strategies. The first thing that must be striking to your mind would be, what is inclusive pedagogy? Etymologically, the term pedagogy has its origin from Greek, and it means leading the child, and it refers to the act of teaching. While the term inclusive pedagogy refers to an approach of teaching that takes care of the individual difference or diversity in the classroom. It's a collection of instructional strategies and teaching methods that collectively contribute to meaningful inclusive education. There are 4 major instructional strategies in inclusive pedagogy. First is differentiated instruction. Second is individualized instruction. Third is co-teaching strategies, and fourth is peer teaching models. Let's find out what is differentiated instruction. It is also known as differentiated instruction and assessment. This teaching strategy is often used by flexible teaching approach, where the students are heterogeneous or diverse. The instruction is planned in 3 parts: content, process, and product. However, differentiation can be done in either or all parts. The core idea is that learners get the opportunity to learn and present their learning as per their interest, abilities, or style.
Let's check the planning for differentiated instructions. Step 1 is, separate groups are formed by the teacher. And those groups are formed according to identified abilities. Step 2 is, teacher designs the lesson as per the learning needs of each group. Step 3 is, assignments, or tasks are given to each group are so designed that the student gets the opportunity to showcase the best of their capacities. For example, in Step 1, class is divided into groups according to learning styles or identified capacities, such as visual, auditory, kinestics capacity, and 3 groups are formed, named as Group A, Group B, Group C. In Step 2, teacher takes the lesson and makes sure all the teaching aids, like books, audio books, braille books, etc., are made available to each group, as per nature of diversity. In the Step 3, Group A might be given assignment of writing a paragraph after listening to a lesson, while Group B is asked to give an oral brief, and Group C might create a poster or an art project to present what they've learned. Now let's see the second instructional strategy, and that is individualized instructions. This teaching strategy is target group specific or individual specific. With respect to children with special needs, it can be said that individualized instructions are according to special education needs. Individualized Education Plan, or IEP, is formed for specific child, according to their need. Here, we are introduced with a new term, IEP. So, what is IEP? An IEP is a document that records the necessary details of a child with a special education need, or SEN. This document describes an individual child's strengths and needs, prioritizes child needs to learn, and helps all the adults in a child's life know their role in the plan. This statement contains a narrative description of the student, assessment information, annual goals, and space for commentary from the multidisciplinary team. However, IEP must not be considered same as a daily lesson plan. Depending on the need of the child, IEP can be designed with help of professional psychologists, with parents' consent. Also, it may include entirely different learning goal, learning objectives, and time frame. Let's check the planning for individualized instructions. Step 1 is, identify the child with special need, and define the separate lesson goals for child with special need, along with the usual learning objectives. Step 2 is, teacher teaches a common lesson for all, and gives instructions for formative assessment. Step 3 is, while the larger group of children are engaged in activities, children with special needs is given task on simpler goals. Here, we must keep in mind that it depends on the type and severity of disability. The child with special need might require assistance and guidance from special teacher or therapist. Those requirements must also be mentioned and reviewed weekly by teachers and parents. Now let's see the third instructional strategy, that is co-teaching strategies. With reference to education of child with special need. The co-teacher can also be special teacher, sign language expert or subject expert. This instructional strategy elucidate the partnership between educators, or other specialists, in order to instruct students with diverse needs, within the general education classroom. Research suggests that the co-teaching strategies provides all students with a wider range of instructional strategies, and allows for more participation of students with special education needs, than in classrooms taught by just one teacher.
There are majorly 6 types of co-teaching strategies. First type of co-teaching strategy is, 1 teach, 1 observe. Second type is, station teaching. Third type is, parallel teaching. Fourth is, alternative teaching. Fifth type is, team teaching. Sixth type is, 1 teach, 1 assist.
Let's go in details of the first type of co-teaching strategy, which is 1 teach, 1 observe. There are more than 1 teacher involved in this strategy. To show an example, we have taken 2 teachers with assigned roles as, teacher 1 would be the main teacher, and teacher 2 would be the observer. Their process would be: the main teacher plans the lesson. Co-teachers can decide in advance what types of specific observational information to gather during instruction, and can agree on a system for gathering the data. Afterward, the teachers should analyze the information together. One of the advantages in this co-teaching type is that more detailed observation of students' engagement in the learning process can occur. The second type of co-teaching strategy is station teaching. Here, more than 1 teacher is involved. Say for example, if there are 2 teachers, both the teachers, that is, teacher 1 and teacher 2 would be in the role of main teacher. Their process would be: each teacher teaches the content to one group and subsequently repeats the instruction for the other group. For example, one station may have an activity related to concept, and another may have an activity where students can perform practical. Advantage of station teaching is active engagement of students. The third type of co-teaching strategy is parallel teaching. Here also 2 teachers are involved. Role of teachers are, teacher 1 and teacher 2 would be the main teacher. Their process would be: both the teachers are teaching the same information at the same time, but they divide the class, and do so simultaneously. However, teaching method can be different, and therefore can be planned, considering special education needs. Ultimately, co-instruction is planned for one group of students for assessment. Advantage of parallel teaching is, it helps to improve instructional effectiveness. The fourth type of co-teaching strategy is alternative teaching. Here also 2 teachers are involved. Role of teachers are, the teacher 1 would teach a large group, while the teacher 2 would teach a small group. Their process would be: one teacher takes responsibility for the large group while the other works with a smaller group. This strategy allows for small groups to be taught based on skills that may need to be developed that are different from the large group. Advantage of alternative teaching is, the strategy is similar to individualized instruction. However, the teacher need not to chalk out separate instruction plan, as the special need of smaller group is taken care by other teacher. The fifth type of co-teaching strategy is team teaching. Here also 2 teachers are involved. Role of teachers are, teacher 1 and teacher 2 would be the main teacher. Their process would be: both the teachers delivers the same content at the same time. So, they ultimately co-instruct one group of students. Instruction becomes more like a conversation. For example, debate, discussion, question-answer, theory and experiment. Advantage of team teaching is, it gives teachers independence to choose the style of teaching. Children get more than one stimulus for active listening. The sixth and last type of co-teaching strategy is one teach, one assist. Here also two teachers are involved. Role of teachers are, the teacher 1 would be the main teacher, while the teacher 2 would be the assistant teacher. Their process would be: one teacher would keep primary responsibility for teaching, while the other teacher circulated through the room providing unobtrusive assistance to students as needed. For example, if math is being taught, one will teach, and the other will monitor students, observing where help might be needed. Advantage of one teach, one assist is, that it provides individual support to students, who may be students with disabilities, or others who are struggling with the lesson. Another important point that should be noted is, all the above co-teaching examples were given with two teachers, however, these same strategies can be planned with more than two teachers. With respect to teaching children with special needs, one of the co-teacher can also be the special teacher. Such special teacher can either be sign language expert or special teacher for learning disabled etc. as per the need and requirement of the group.
The last instructional strategy is peer teaching. Peer teaching is a very powerful strategy that not only has a constructivist approach to teaching and learning, but also it's very good and fun way of promoting active learning, obtaining cooperation, and brings about socialization among students. It encourages teamwork, time management, communication, and problem-solving skills. Students learn from each other and get opportunity to interact with each other. There are many instruction strategies that make part of peer teaching strategies, such as collaborative learning, cooperative learning, buddy system, and circle of friends. However, in special reference to children with special needs, following methods are preferred by inclusive school teachers due to its lucidity and simplicity in nature. Circle of friends and buddy system. Let's discuss the circles of friends, peer teaching, instruction strategy. Circles of friends is an approach which originated in North America. It was one of a range of strategies used to encourage the inclusion of children with disabilities into mainstream settings. The circles of friends approach works by mobilizing the peer group to provide support and engage them in problem solving. It is about creating the incentives to build relationships around individuals who are vulnerable. The key resources needed to create circles of friends are other pupils. Their process would be: teacher invites volunteer among the peer group for creating a circle of friends to the vulnerable child. Volunteers from the peer group meet regularly with the target pupil, therefore, ensuring that relationships are built around him or her. The group also problem solves with the target pupil in order to address any social difficulties that he or she may be experiencing in school. Advantage of circles of friends, peer teaching, and instruction strategy is, it is used as a practical tool to support inclusion in many places for diverse groups of pupils, including those with autistic spectrum disorders. Effectiveness of its study is tested through many case studies in UK and many other countries. Now, let's discuss the buddy system, peer teaching, instruction strategy. Buddy system is used by many teachers for its convenience and a benefit in effective time and classroom management. Their process B. Teacher identifies the child who is more active and participative in nature. Also, capable of finishing the assigned classwork on or before time, and assign him or her the role of buddy. Teacher asks buddy to observe the classwork of the children with special needs and help them to finish the task. Teacher must make sure to take report from both children with special needs and the buddy. Advantage of buddy system, peer teaching, is there are a number of benefits for children in buddy systems, such as greater social integration, development of leadership skills, and improved academic outcomes.
Selecting a teaching strategy should be based on identification of learners' interests and needs, resource planning and availability, planning and scheduling of lessons, collaboration with teachers and specialists, reflecting on own teaching.
Now, let's do a quick review of what we have learned so far. We discussed is details about 4 major instructional strategies: differentiated instruction, individualized instruction, co-teaching strategies, and peer teaching models.
Always remember that inclusion starts with I, and includes you.
With this, we have come to the end of the Module 3, Inclusive Pedagogy. I thank you all for your time. Have a good day ahead.